Welcome. I would like to welcome you to yet another episode of the Unpopular podcast. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Hunter. And if you do me a favor, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers, so, anything will help. But here's where we'll start. Game 4 told a lot of stories in the NBA Finals. So as we speak right now, the game 5 is tonight. But as we speak right now, the series is tied 2-2. The series is now going back to Phoenix. But the story is, a lot was told in Game 4. And what I mean to say is a lot of questions arose and a lot of questions were answered in Game 4. First and foremost, last episode, I talked about Devin Booker. I talked about, we don't know if he's a superstar yet. Game 4 was a big pivotal game for him, seeing as though Game 3, he had his worst, pretty much his worst game he's ever had in the playoffs. And he responded. Devin Booker's a superstar. Do I think, it's tough. It's tough with Devin Booker, but what I will say, and I will give Devin Booker credit, is that he answered all the questions that I had. Devin Booker came back in Game 4 and gave us 42 points, game high. He was going crazy. There was one point at the end of the third quarter, the start of the fourth, where he was just hitting everything. That man was doing fadeaways in the paint. He was killing, and. Rightfully so, man. Devin Booker deserved Devin Booker deserved the credit that he's getting, and he played well. However, man, this Game 4 had so many storylines. First and foremost, we had a Khris Middleton game. Every single series, from the first series to Brooklyn to Atlanta, there has been a Khris Middleton game. And what is a Khris Middleton game for people that ask? We know, people that watch sports and people, of course, that watch the NBA know the talent that Khris Middleton has. Khris Middleton has the talent. In fact, that's why the running joke and of course, the argument goes around between who's Batman between Giannis and Khris Middleton. I don't subscribe to that conversation. The fact of the matter is you can have that. Khris Middleton has the talent to be a 1. We all know this. From his scoring ability, his defense at times, Khris Middleton has the talent to be a 1, has the talent to be a centerpiece for a team in the NBA. The problem with Khris Middleton, and we talk about this damn near every episode at this point, is his inconsistency. One game, he'll give you have an incredible game. The next game, he'll be lost. When he's at home, it seems like he can't miss, or at least in the playoffs, he hasn't missed. And outside of a few games away, he's been garbage. So it's like Khris Middleton has the talent to be a 1. He just doesn't have the consistency, which is why he has the talent to be a superstar. Just like Paul George has the talent to be a superstar. It's just they're not as consistent as they should be. But what is a Khris Middleton game? A Khris Middleton game, and it happens every single series. One game where Khris Middleton has the game of his life, is balling out. And the Khris Middleton game was Game 4. He finished with 40 points. Bro, Khris Middleton was hitting everything. That man put up damn near. I think he put up 30 shots, but he was hitting. And people was like, damn, he put up 30 shots with Giannis. Yeah, at the end of the day, Giannis is the best player and Giannis is the centerpiece, but Giannis is not better offensively than a Khris Middleton. And Khris Middleton did his thing, man. Khris Middleton went crazy. And why it was so big in Game 4 is because you can't lose Game 4. The Bucks were down 9 points in the fourth quarter. You cannot lose Game 4 because no matter how good Khris Middleton can be, no matter how good Giannis is, no matter how good Jrue Holiday is, no matter how good Brook Lopez is, this team is not winning 3 straight against the Phoenix Suns, especially when 2 of those 3 you would have to play away. It's just not happening. So they had to win Game 3. And Game 4. And of course, Khris Middleton went crazy. Khris Middleton went crazy. I know it was one game or two or three games in the Brooklyn series where he put up like 38, 32, 34. And I know there was a big game in the Atlanta series where I think he put up like damn near 40. And it had like 28 third quarter points or something. Like, this game told a lot of stories. It's also telling a lot of stories about Chris Paul right now. Now, again, I'm here to give Chris Paul praise. I will give Chris Paul praise when Chris Paul deserves praise. Hell, I'll give anybody praise, even if it's and people know I'm from the Maryland, Washington. Even if it's a Cowboy, whatever. Like, I will give a player, a team praise that deserves praise. And for this entire playoffs, I've been giving Chris Paul praise, and well deserved. You beat the Lakers. The Suns beat the Lakers. They beat the Clippers. They beat the Denver Nuggets. Like, I give them praise, and I give Chris Paul praise when it's deserved. On the flip side to that, I have to be real about Chris Paul. Chris Paul has been god-awful. He hasn't been good the last 3 games, but he's been god-awful these last 2. The 2 games that they played in Milwaukee has been god-awful. In fact, the last 3 games, he's had 15 turnovers. Now, this is the same Chris Paul that we praise for having an incredible assist-to-turnover ratio. He's a person that give you 45 assists to 1 turnover. Like, he's that type of player. But what I'm seeing is, I feel like his game is deteriorating right before our eyes. Not saying that he's done, but what I'm saying is, Chris Paul, his scoring has gone down every game. His assists have gone down every game. His rebounds have gone down every game. However, his turnovers have gone up every game. And I'm going to call a spade a spade. Now, we're going to talk about DeAndre Ayton in a minute, but Chris Paul was a big reason why they lost Game 3 and Game 4. When you're the main point guard, when you're the main person dribbling the ball up, when you're the main person, orchestrating the offense, you can't have that many turnovers. 15 turnovers in the last 3 games? That's an average of 5 turnovers a game. Imagine that all those turnovers turn to threes. That's 15 points. Now, I know Game 3, Devin Booker did play a lot of that because, his offense was off. But Chris Paul was a huge reason. And if we're doing like a percentage pie, I'll say that Chris Paul was about 60 to 65% was the reason why they lost Game 4. He just didn't. Now, they're saying that he may have injury in his shooting hand. I don't know. But he was turning the ball over. Like, he was having bad turnovers. There's a difference between having like a turnover when you're when you think you make a play and you just not connecting with the other player. Maybe it's a charge when it's supposed to be a defensive foul. Like, those type of turnovers, understandable. But when you're the end of the game, it's tied up. The Bucks just miss. You get the ball. You're dribbling the ball, and all you do is try to do a cut and switch hands with the ball, and you lose the ball. And that to me was a huge pivotal moment. When you're going, I know it was like the first few minutes of the game. I think the first, 10 minutes of the game, Chris Paul had like 3 turnovers himself. And it was like, running to the lane, jumping, and then trying to turn and pass. Like, that's not going to work, bro. Especially when you're going up against a long team like the Bucks. And I told you guys last episode, Chris Paul isn't at a point in his career where he can just go give you 30, go give you 40 points a game. Like, he did it, the end of the Clippers series. Yeah, he did it the first game. I think he had like 34 or whatever in the first game of this playoffs. First game of this NBA Finals. But it's just been a deterioration. The mid-range that he patents so much, the mid-range that has gotten him where it's gotten him, he hasn't been hitting that either. And it's like, that's why, and I tweeted this. I said, I know the series is tied up and anybody can still win, but this series feels over. And it feels over. Now, again, I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, it is what it is. I'll come in here and say I was wrong. But it just feels over, man. It feels over because the Suns held the Bucks to under 40% shooting the ball. And they shot over 50% in game 4 and still lost the game. Giannis had 29 or 26 or something like that. Khris Middleton had a Khris Middleton game. Jrue Holiday went back to being garbage. And they still lost. They were up 9 points in the fourth quarter and still lost. There was a stretch at the end of the game. I think it was the Bucks were up 2. Giannis damn near airballed 2 free throws. Or no, damn near airballed 2 shots. Missed a layup. Missed 2 layups. And the Suns did not score any of those possessions. And it was a 2-point game. You got Giannis shooting threes again. Missed. Both. I think he took like 2 or 3 and missed them all. And you still lose that game. Jrue Holiday cannot throw a rock in the ocean if he was standing on a boat. And you lost the game. Devin Booker had one of his best playoff games he's ever had. Now, I understand that this is his first playoffs. I get that. But he had one of his best playoff games. And you lost. Now, I know you're waiting for it. I'm going to talk about it. That non-call. The non-call at the end of the game when I think Jrue Holiday went up and Devin Booker not only hugged the dude, he hugged him and hit his arm, and they didn't call foul. That was one of the most egregious. I'm using the Stephen A. Smith word. That was one of the most egregious non-calls I've ever seen. I was like, ooh. Now, first and foremost, here's the worst part about it. It's like, why are you doing this, Devin Booker? You already have 5 fouls. This would have been your 6th. The team needs you. You're the only one really scoring right now. Why are you doing this? And everybody in the world knew that it was a foul, except, I guess, for the refs. I don't know. But it just feels over, man. It feels over because the Bucks did not have this. I understand that the Bucks were at home, right? But the Bucks didn't have a good game, like outside of Khris Middleton and Jrue Holiday. Outside of Khris Middleton, Giannis, and Pat Connaughton, because Pat Connaughton had some really clutch offensive rebounds and putbacks. Outside of that, no. But PJ Tucker had 0 points. PJ Tucker played 29 minutes and had 0 points. Jrue Holiday, again, Jrue Holiday couldn't hit a sugar packet in a candy factory. And they look, bruh. I understand that the Bucks were home, but everything was working in the Suns' favor. You had the best player on the floor at the time, which was Devin Booker. He was playing like lights out. Only 2 players were going off for the Bucks, and that was Jrue Holiday. No, not Jrue. Why do I keep saying Jrue? And that was Khris Middleton and Giannis. And Giannis really, he was having a good game, but he wasn't having like the game of games. You know what I'm saying? Khris Middleton was. But you had those 2, and you pretty much neutralized everyone else. DeAndre Ayton was not in foul trouble. So you could, now I understand DeAndre Ayton slowed down. Let's say slowed down Giannis. It didn't stop him, but he slowed him down. The Bucks are shooting under 40%, and you're shooting over 50%. And you lose that game. That's why I said it feels like it's over, because even Monty Williams said at the end of the game, these are self-made mistakes. And the Bucks are playing right. You're playing right. The Bucks played exactly how you wanted them to play. Like, if you game planned how to play the Bucks, Giannis is going to get his. Just put DeAndre Ayton on him. DeAndre Ayton, do not get in foul trouble. Khris Middleton might have a good game. If he does, just neutralize everyone else because we know Khris Middleton, his shot, make Giannis shoot. Like, everything that you plan going into the game is exactly what happened. Yet and still, you lose. And they had 17 turnovers. And I think Chris Paul had like 5 or 6 of them Jones. And like I said, I understand, it's just one game and short memory and everything, but it just feels like, it feels like the Bucks had their worst game they could have had at home. Like, the Bucks had their worst game they could have had, and they still won. Now, I understand we have to see. It's only tied, and you can look at it on 2 coins. You can look at it like a coin, 2 sides. One side is just like the Suns. The Bucks handled business at home. You won both games. You're supposed to win both games. Home court advantage. That's what it is. On the other side, like I said, everything that you wanted the Bucks to do, they did. Like, how you game plan is exactly what happened, but you still had a lot of turnovers, and this is the second game in a row they had over, I think, 15 turnovers. And you still lost. And you had a lead late in the fourth quarter. 9-point lead with, like, I think 5 or 6 minutes left. And you lose that game. And Devin Booker is having a Devin Booker game. Now, let's talk about Devin Booker for a second. Devin Booker plays a part in this loss as well. There's a couple people that play a part, but Devin Booker, I know you're probably, wait, what? Devin Booker just had 42. Devin Booker, you just said he had a good game. Devin Booker had a great game, but he played some parts in this loss. First and foremost, you have 4 fouls. You're the only one at this time that's scoring. Like, Cam Johnson, he wasn't hitting at this time, like, in this point of the game, late third quarter, early fourth. Actually, late third quarter. Like, you're the only one hitting. So why are you going to hip check PJ Tucker with 4 fouls? You're already in a rhythm. You're making it. You're doing what it does. Like, you're scoring at will. You have the hot hand. Why are you hip checking PJ Tucker at the bottom of under the basket in, like, out of bounds? You're hip checking PJ Tucker to get your 5th foul. Now you have to sit out and you get cold. In fact, Devin Booker was cold after that. I think Devin Booker maybe only hit 1 or 2 shots after that, maybe 3 shots. And it just threw off his rhythm. It threw off the team's rhythm. Like, he played a major part. I'm not going to say major, but he played a part in losing too. And then let's you can't do that, bro. You can't do that. Not to mention, I don't know why they didn't. I don't know. But they should have called that foul on Devin Booker. And if they would have called that foul, the foul that was a clear foul, then Devin Booker would have been fouled out the game with like 5 minutes left. No, with like maybe 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, 1 or 2, probably like 3 or 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. With the game, I think they were down. I think they were tied when they were like down 1 when that happened, or down 2 when that happened. So it's like, Devin Booker, you have to be smart in those situations. You see that you're the only one scoring. Chris Paul doesn't have it right now. Nobody else has it right now offensively. You see that this is your offensive game. You have to be smarter than that. You have to be better than that. You have to understand, I get nothing from hip checking PJ Tucker. PJ Tucker has 0 points and like 4 rebounds. PJ Tucker just out there for cardio. Like, you have to be better than that. And then, of course, we'll get to the block. The Giannis block. The Giannis block on DeAndre Ayton, which I think is one of the greatest blocks I've ever seen. And it's not because it was just a block. I mean, it's pretty much 2 7-footers going up, meeting at the pinnacle, and Giannis blocking the lob, alley-oop. I say it's one of the greatest blocks because of the timing. I believe Damian Lillard said it too on Twitter. I believe that was a series-saving block because I think at that point the Bucks were up 2. They missed. Devin Booker comes, throws the lob, and he throws the lob. The only place that Devin Booker's not really used to throwing lobs, but he threw it at the only place that DeAndre Ayton can catch it. Giannis as the ball was thrown, Giannis was all right. So Giannis, here you go. Devin Booker is on my right. Giannis is looking solely at Devin Booker. Throw the lob. Giannis then turns his head, sees that, okay, this is not a shot. This is a lob. Turns his head to DeAndre Ayton that's behind him. He has to then turn his whole body around, jump up, track the ball, and block it within a split second. And he blocked the shot clean too. Like it wasn't, it was like, there was a little bit of arm. It was a little bit of red. No, it was a clean block. And I think like that to me sealed the game. At this point, the crowd's going crazy. Giannis is, snarling at the crowd. Now, I will say this. Because the question today and the question yesterday and the question that we're hearing since the block is it the greatest block ever? I will say it's a better block than LeBron James Game 7 block, but it's not as heavy as LeBron James Game 7 block because the LeBron James block was a Game 7. And LeBron James block in Game 7 was a direct correlation to them winning the entire series. Now, again, we don't know what's going to happen until the series is over, but this was Game 4. Now, I think it was a better block because LeBron James, of course, tracked down. And Andre Iguodala laid the ball up instead of trying to dunk it, and LeBron tracked it. Great block. And it was Game 7. I think what Giannis did was a better block. Like, it was, to me, more challenging. It was a high lob. Of course, you're looking at Devin Booker. You turn, have to then track DeAndre Ayton, then track the ball, then meet at the pinnacle. It was a tougher block, but I don't think it was a heavy as far as it didn't. Why I don't think it was better than LeBron's or more important than LeBron's because LeBron's was in Game 7 and this was Game 4. So, but it was to me an all-time block, one of the best most important blocks because, like I said, that was a momentum ceiling because at this point the momentum was kind of swinging. It's a 2-point game. The momentum pretty much the entire game was with the Suns, but at this point it's seesawing. And if he makes that, the Suns bench go crazy. It's a tie game, blah blah blah. At that point, once you block it, the whole crowd goes, the arena goes crazy, and you still have a 2-point lead. So, it was a good block. And, moving forward, man, it's an even series at this point. I mean, clearly with the 2-2, but it's an even series, but it kind of feels like the Bucks have the momentum right now. Now, of course, that's easy to be said, seeing as though they just won both games or 2 games in a row. But it just feels like they have the momentum. Now, of course, we need to see what happens Game 5, or we need to see if the Bucks can sustain that momentum away from the home court. But it just they have the momentum right now, and that's a dangerous thing to have when, of course, you have, to me, the best player in the series is Giannis, and you have arguably one of the best offensive players in the series in Khris Middleton when he's on fire, as we've seen. So, well, and not to mention, Chris Paul hasn't played well since Game 2, and Devin Booker played garbage Game 3, but he had probably one of the best playoff games he's had in Game 4. So it's like, can he sustain that? Even though, I mean, it's going to be hard asking somebody to sustain a 42-point game, but he's going to have to continue to be aggressive and continue to make shots, or this is going to be this series is over if he doesn't. So, we'll just have to see. But moving forward, so the biggest news that just dropped or dropped yesterday was Damian Lillard requesting was more than reports are saying that he's going to request a trade in the next coming days. This is seismic. This is seismic because he is a superstar. You know what I mean? He's probably the second best shooter in the league. When the superstars request a trade, it's different from a star. When a star requests a trade, I mean, it's a star, you know, it's big. But when a superstar requests a trade, this changes everything. A little later, I'm going to talk about Kawhi Leonard, but man, this affects Portland. It affects the Western Conference. It affects whoever Dame goes to. It even affects the East. First and foremost, Damian Lillard off Port. Look at the Pelicans. You can say, you know, since Anthony Davis requested a trade, the Pelicans have been good. I mean, you have Lonzo Ball, you have Zion, those draft picks, but nobody thinks the Pelicans are championship caliber team. And as you see, Anthony Davis goes to the Lakers and wins a championship. This is big, bro. I don't know where he'll go. I don't know, you know. People are saying the Lakers, Golden State has talks. I don't know how that'll work. That'd be crazy. Him, Damian Lillard, Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry. That'd be crazy. Like, this is just big, man. I feel bad. I feel bad for a couple people. I feel bad for Chauncey, man. You know, we were just when Chauncey got the job, I was like, you know, it's a good job. You have Damian Lillard. It's kind of like David Culley, the coach now for the Houston Texans. It's like now that you have the job, it's like, all right, cool, let's get it. You know, boom, boom, boom. But you know, the job without your star player in Deshaun Watson is kind of tough. Now, you know, Chauncey Billups, who I think is going to be a fantastic coach. Now you don't have your best player or one of the best players in the NBA, Damian Lillard. A lot of people question if Damian Lillard is the best point guard in the league. So this is going to be big, man. And where he goes is going to be big. Imagine Damian Lillard going to the Lakers. Imagine Damian Lillard going to the Celtics. Imagine Damian Lillard going to anywhere. You know, again, a superstar is so, like, a superstar can go anywhere. I'm not saying they can win anywhere, but they can go anywhere and make it a immediate presence. And, you know, of course, I'll wait until he officially requests a trade. But I think True Hoops is the one that reported this. But honestly, man, I'm not surprised, nor do I think Damian Lillard is doing it wrong. Of course, I'm always championing a player doing what they want to do, and doing makes them feel better. But this goes back. We talked about this time and time again, man. The Trailblazers have had that opportunity to help Dame. They've had the opportunity to get players for Dame, to get help for Dame. And I told you this. I said this last episode or last time we talked about it. The last thing that Portland wanted to do is happening, and that is Damian Lillard playing with stars. Damian Lillard playing next to stars in Team USA. It goes back to my analogy with the whole when you're flying a plane, you're so used to economy. When you get that taste of first class, it's kind of hard to go back to economy. And that's what we're seeing for Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard goes from playing with CJ McCollum, Robert Covington, Enes Kanter, Anthony Simon, Miles, no, what's his name? Zach Collins. You go from that, and don't get me wrong, those are good players. They're in the NBA, but you go from that to playing with KD, playing with Bradley Beal, playing with Jeremy Grant, playing with Zach LaVine, playing with Draymond Green, playing with Bam Adebayo, playing with Devin Booker, playing with Drew Holiday, playing with Khris Middleton, playing with Kevin Love. Like, those are drastic differences. And it's kind of hard, especially when you've lost in the first round four of the last 5 years. And the 1 year you go to the Eastern Conference or Western Conference Finals, you get blown out the water by Golden State. A Golden State, by the way, that didn't have Kevin Durant in most of those games. Actually, I don't think they had Kevin Durant at all because he was injured. So it's like, oh man, I don't blame Dame. And this is a player empowerment league, man, and this is a player empowerment era. Go do what's best for you. If it's best for you going to play for the Lakers, going to play for Portland. I mean, not Portland. Go to play for New York. Going to play for, I don't know, Golden State. Like, do what's best for you. The whole thing, the whole loyalty thing, kind of irritates me. I'm not saying everyone should just go form a super team, but the idea that you have to be loyal to a team, to me, makes no sense because a team is not loyal to you. A team is only loyal to you when you're winning. And honestly, they're not loyal to you. They're loyal to winning. A team will trade you. Again, if Brooklyn called today and said, we'll give you KD, James Harden, and Kyrie, all you got to do is give us Steph Curry. Steph Curry's gone. If Golden State calls the Lakers, say, we'll give you Steph and Clay, just give us LeBron. LeBron's gone. I know the whole no trade clause. Just follow me. So what I'm saying is the whole thing of a player needs to be, a player should be loyal, to me is bull, because a team's not loyal. A team will trade you in a heartbeat. So, good for Dame. It sucks. It sucks for Chauncey Billups. You go from having one of the best players in the league to now going to rebuild quick. Like this is another thing that happens when a superstar usually requests a trade is your team automatically goes to rebuild mode. Like, cause it's a superstar. You can get all the stars in the world, but a superstar is different. Like Nikola Jokic demanded a trade from Denver. Denver has good players, but they don't have a Nikola Jokic. The Wizards are already on the fringe. They're not the best. But if Bradley Beal requests a trade, it's over. If Jason Tatum requested a trade, it's if Steph Curry requested a trade from Golden State, it's over. So, this is seismic. I'm not Damian Lillard is doing what's best for him, and I respect that and I champion that. Do what's best for you, bro. Do what's best for you. That's what you got to do. Because again, a team is always going to do what's best for them. It sucks for Chauncey Billups, the new head coach. It sucks for the organization, but again, the organization had all the opportunity in the world to get Dame help. They had free agent. Hell, they could have got Melo when he was younger, and more in his prime. They could have made a bigger swing at KD. They could have made a bigger swing at Paul George. They could have made a bigger swing at Kawhi Leonard. They could have made a bigger swing at James Harden. They could have made so many bigger swings that they didn't. They just stayed pat because we have Dame. And that's what they always did. They did that with Clyde Drexler. They did that with Brandon Roy. They did that with LaMarcus Aldridge. They did that. They always do that. That's the same thing that Green Bay does. Oh, we have Aaron Rodgers. We're gonna just stay, but he's gonna take us to the promised land. Damian Lillard had 55 and got bounced. They lost that game. So, hey man, do what's best for you, Dame. I respect it. I would love to see where he's gonna go. I'm praying that it's not the Lakers, but if it is, that's what's best for you. Hey, do your thing. Do your thing. So, hey, well, Damian Lillard requests a trade. We'll see how it goes. So, yeah. So Bradley Beal is out of the Olympics because he entered health and safety protocol, which pretty much means COVID. Now, Bam Adebayo came out and said, Bradley Beal is feeling healthy. He doesn't have COVID. I guess he came into contact with somebody. I don't know. I know they're in Vegas right now with the exhibitions. They canceled their exhibition that was on Thursday or Friday. That was on Friday yesterday. Because, like I said, the COVID and stuff, and they're just exhibitions. They really don't hold weight. But it sucks for Bradley Beal. I hope if he does have COVID, I hope for a speedy recovery. I hope that he's able to bounce back and get back. If he doesn't, I hope that he's able to again bounce back, get back, and just get healthy. Now they're going to replace him. Bradley Beal is not going to be part of Team USA. And there's a couple names that they should consider. I mean, now names like Trae Young has been pulled out there, Ja Morant, Donovan Mitchell, like those names have been pulled out. However, you also hear names like Christian Wood or what Team USA needs is a big. Now it's kind of difficult because most of the best bigs in the league can't play for Team USA. Like Nikola Jokic can't play for Team USA. Joel Embiid, I don't believe, can play for Team USA because they're not from USA. Bam Adebayo, of course, is playing, but they need a big. They need a solid big. Like I said, you're hearing Christian Wood could replace him. I would look at. I mean, of course, I know it's a big difference from having, of course, a big sweeping difference from having Bradley Beal, who is second in the league in scoring. But Team USA doesn't need more scoring. Now, I will say this. This not having Bradley Beal does hurt Team USA. Again, he's the second leading scorer in the league. He was their shooting guard or small forward, however you wanted to put the lineups, and he's a scorer. Now I understand you have Dame, you have Zach, you have KD, but he's a scorer. And Team USA, again, Bradley Beal he's a longer body as well. He can defend a little. I'm not saying he's Tony Allen, but he can defend a little. And he's the second leading scorer in the league. Like he finishes but again, they need to consider. I think they need to consider a big. Maybe see. I don't know. Again, they're talking about Christian Wood. And I'm just throwing names out there. I'm not saying that these names. Now, the only reason why. Now, of course, I know Trae Young is better than Christian Wood or whatever. I know Ja Morant, Donovan Mitchell. I'm hearing Duncan Robinson. Like, I understand that these people are good offensively, but again, you don't need more offense. You have Damian Lillard, you have Zach LaVine, you have you have KD. Like, you don't need more offense. You have Jeremy Grant. Like, you don't really need more offense. You need a big that can rebound and defend. So, but then again, you do need a perimeter defender as well because they don't have that. So now, I have heard, and of course, report came out that saying that Jeremy Grant is also in the health and safety protocol. So I don't know what that means. I don't know. I've heard that Team USA, like it's been reported, breaking news on ESPN, that Team USA is going to replace Bradley Beal. I haven't heard anything about Jeremy Grant, so I'm guessing that Jeremy Grant is going to remain there and going to play for Team USA as well. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I hope he's healthy as well, but I just think. I don't know, man. They need a big. They need a big, and if they don't, they need a big, and they need to. No, I'll say this: they do need a big, but in replacement of Bradley Beal, I think you need to go with a defensive guard, because, like I said, you saw Patty Mills gave them the work. Nigeria's guards gave them the work. And I just think, I mean, I'm trying to think who would be a good quality guard that can defend for Team USA. It's definitely not Trae Young. It's not Ja Morant. It's not Russell Westbrook. Maybe Donovan Mitchell. I don't know if he's declined already. I think he did decline. I don't know, man. Maybe Mike Conley. Well, he came off an injury. I don't know. It's tough. they either gonna go with. I think they should either go with a defending guard. I think they need a defending guard more than a big, but go with a big as well because you have Bam and you have Jeremy Grant, and you have Draymond Green, so you have at least 2 of the 3 players can play solid defense. But they do not have a guard that could defend. So I think they should go with a defending guard more than anything. But again, I hope for a speedy recovery from Bradley Beal, and I hope Jeremy Grant's all right as well. And another thing that came out of Team USA or the Olympic camp was Liz Cambage. So Liz Cambage, the report came out, or no, she pretty much announced that she won't be playing for Australia in the Olympics because what the Olympics, COVID is running crazy in China right now, in Tokyo. And China, is Tokyo in China? Damn, I'm sorry, man. In Tokyo right now. And what they're going to do is they're going to pretty much do a bubble style, kind of like what the NBA did and the NHL did. You know, they're going to do a bubble I don't think they're going to have fans. I don't think they're going to have a crowd because, like I said, COVID is running rampant right now in Tokyo. And she's saying that due to mental health, she doesn't want to put herself through that mental hurdle that she has to go. And here's the thing, bro. Oh man. Now I see a lot of people praising her for, her decision. I see a lot of people killing her for a decision, saying you make all this money, you're a professional athlete, you should go, they don't pay you to have mental problems. I see a lot of people saying that, first of all. Now again, I see also a lot of people championing her and praising her and definitely rightfully so. And I'm going to be on that camp right now. The difference between athletes and I guess regular people, quote unquote, is they are supremely talented at their craft. And they make a lot of money at doing their craft. What doesn't get talked about is these are still people. I talk about this a lot on this podcast, but these are still people. And these are people that, these are people that can't do a lot of stuff in the spotlight. Like Liz Cambage is hard to blend in. She's like, what, 6'8", 6'9"? Like, she's not just blending in. Brittany Griner's not just blending in. LeBron James is not just blending in. KD is not just blending in. So when you have the spotlight always on you, it's kind of hard to maneuver. That's why I always say I want money and stuff, but I don't want to be famous. I don't want my every move to be clocked by paparazzi or something. And it's kind of hard when, again, now of course, shouts out to all the athletes. A lot of them are doing it with grace. But you can't get mad and you can't say that Liz Cambage is tripping because she's noting mental health as the reason why she doesn't want to play. Do you know how hard it is when you're used to something to just completely change it? Hell, that people were killing them, but that's what Paul George was talking about when they were in the bubble for the NBA. You're used to seeing your family. You're used to being able to have the freedom to go out. That's why a lot of people went crazy during this quarantine thing. Because you're so used to doing a lot of things, and that's the way of people, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's you don't want to be, they're going to be away for a couple months, I believe, or a couple weeks. I don't, like, they don't want to be away from their families. They don't want to, especially after having to quarantine. Not to mention, you're away from your family. You're pretty much alone with your team. You're not going to have any fan interaction. You're not going to have any crowd interactions. And on top of that, you have to play the best brand of basketball you're playing to try to get your country a World Cup. And you have to worry about not getting COVID. Now, people saying these are top world athletes. A lot of them are vaccinated. Yeah, bro, people that are vaccinated are getting COVID too. And people are dying from COVID. I think over 600,000 people in the United States alone have died from COVID. So you have to worry about not getting COVID. You have to worry about playing your best, or your team's out of there. And on top of that, you get no interaction with your family. You get no interaction with your loved ones. You get no interaction with your friends outside of FaceTime. For a couple months, I believe, or a couple weeks or months. But it's an extended period of time. That's tough on anyone. So I understand why I understand why Paul George says, yo, I had to seek counseling. This really messed up my mental health. I understand why Liz Cambage is saying because of mental health, she doesn't want to put herself through that. I understand that completely. And I champion anyone making that decision. I'm not saying, and I also champion people that are going to go and play, like that want to go. I respect, this is what I think. Free will is free will, bro. You do what you want. You do what's best for you. That's what a lot of people forget. And a lot of people, just because they're athletes, they think that athletes are supposed to do what's best for the fan. My G, they don't know you. They don't know me. They just know them, like, they need to do what's best for you. You're always going to do what's best for you. So you should, you can't, it's irrational to expect an athlete to then, or an athlete that doesn't know you, to do what's best for you, not for them. That doesn't make sense. That's irrational. That's an irrational mindset. So, shouts out to Liz Cambage for making the decision, man. She's one of the best WNBA players in the league right now. And shouts out for her for making that decision. Hey, I wish a lot of people would. Another thing, and I talked about this before, but another thing is a lot of people put money over mental health and wonder why their mental health is so jacked up, because they focus so much on chasing the bag or chasing the money. And I get that mindset. Trust me, when you're growing, hell, I grew up having damn near nothing. We struggled as a family. So I understand that mindset of, now that I'm a little older, I don't want to go back there. I want to chase the money. I get that. But I also have grown to understand and grown to believe. And I believe that, yes, money is cool. Money is good. But it's not as important as mental health. Hell, that's what Naomi Osaka is going through right now. And I respect her for it. She's putting her mental health over money. Now, yes, she's made an absorbent amount of money. Good for her. But she's putting her mental health above that. Liz Cambage is putting her mental health above the Olympics. And she's a star in not only just the WNBA. She's a star in Australia as well. And she's putting her mental health above that. Paul George saying he had to go seek counseling and get his mental health right after the bubble. I respect that. I respect anyone that goes to counseling, man. Like, mental health is important. I know I kind of went on a tangent. I know, but I'm gonna bring it back in. But shouts out to Liz Cambage for making the decision not to go for her mental health. I definitely champion that, and just because she doesn't go doesn't mean that she's not still Liz Cambage. She's not still a great WNBA player. And again, back to Bradley Beal. I hope Bradley Beal gets healthy. I hope Jeremy Grant gets healthy, and if Jeremy Grant continues to, or will continue to play, I hope him nothing but the best for Team USA, and whoever replaced Bradley Beal for Team USA, I'll be here. I'll be watching. So move forward. So Kawhi Leonard has successful ACL surgery, and I say it like that because all we were hearing is, oh, it's a sprained knee. It's a sprained knee. I knew it wasn't a sprained knee because, hell, first, Skip Bayless said he had sources saying that it was an ACL thing. And this injury kind of felt like the end of the Golden State Kevin Durant era. As far as Kevin Durant had the whole heel thing, and they're saying, oh, no, it's just a strain, it's whatever. And then Kevin Durant plays and ruptures his Achilles. Now, luckily, that didn't happen to Kawhi Leonard, but Kawhi Leonard, I guess, seeked outside. I don't know. I don't know. It wasn't a sprain. It was clearly a slight ACL tear or whatever, and he had surgery. Meaning, I don't know if he's gonna be. I don't know if he's gonna be good for the start of the season next year. And this is huge for not only the Clippers but for the Western Conference. This is one of the best at his best. This is arguably a top 5 player in the league not going to start the season for a team that just made it to the Western Conference Finals. Now, this also affects his free agency because it's like, are you gonna offer Kawhi Leonard the max when the last few years he hasn't been he hasn't been completely healthy, especially for a team in the Clippers that you can look and say, hey, well, we have Paul George, we have Reggie Jackson, we have they're gonna have to re-sign Reggie Jackson, but they have players and we can move forward and we can go attract other players. Like this is a big injury, and it's not just because of who it's on, as in Kawhi Leonard, but it's for this is going to change the landscape now. And then it also is like this. This could potentially, now I'm not. This is no offense to what's his name, Paul George, but this could potentially take a whole team out of champion. With Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, they're a title contender. Without Kawhi Leonard, they're a playoff team. They can be a playoff team, but they're not a title contender. Meaning that can go. Jamal Murray's going to be back next year. Klay Thompson's going to be back next year, and we're going to see what Golden State does with the 2 lottery picks and maybe a couple pieces. This is huge, and of course you're dealing with an owner in Steve Ballmer who wants to win now, which is rightfully so. I mean, they just got a new build, they're trying to get a new arena. They're not trying to just be the middle of the pack. They're not trying to be in the Lakers' shadow as they've always been. They're trying to win, and it's are you going to invest your money and give Kawhi Leonard a max or a super max and the team, and I'm not saying that the team is going to be better with him an entire season, no. But I can understand the thinking when someone say, well, the team, I mean, we did good without him. And then what is the Kawhi? I mean, this is an ACL surgery. How is Kawhi Leonard going to look coming back? These are all questions that need to be answered for the Clippers. And this could potentially change the way that we look at not only the Clippers, but the Western Conference. I'm not saying that the East will just be drastically better than the West. No. But, the joke was, I mean, well, it wasn't even a joke. A conversation was, can Paul George and Kawhi Leonard win together? It's kind of like the same conversation they have with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. It's yeah, they're 2 good players, but as we've seen, they haven't won together. And it's should we separate them? And of course, it was always, oh no, Paul George, trade Paul George, trade Paul George, trade Paul George. Now it's okay, well, Paul George got us to the Western Conference Finals. Do we really need Kawhi Leonard? And is Kawhi Leonard the person that gets you over the top? No, this is not me saying it, because I still think when healthy, Kawhi Leonard's a top 5, top 10 player in the league. But it's this is yet another year where you didn't play you played more of the season this year, but you got hurt in the most important time. Hell, last year, of course, we know about what happened with the bubble, but he missed most of the season before the bubble because of injury. Or because of load management, I guess. So, I don't know, man. This can definitely change the landscape of a lot of things. And of course, we have to wait and see what happens. So, moving forward, shouts out to team. No, okay, so the WNBA Allstar game was last week, and shouts out to the team WNBA, I guess, for beating Team USA. Now, first and foremost, this should not happen. They beat Team USA, 93-85. That should not happen. This is no offense to Team WNBA or the WNBA Allstars, but they should not be beating Team USA. Team USA has Sue Bird, Tina Charles, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Brittany Griner, Brianna Stewart, Ariel Atkins, Jewel Lloyd. Like, they have the top of the top that's playing. Now, I understand Jaquel Jones isn't on the team, and she's like a front runner MVP, but that's because she's not from the United States. Elena Deladon, who's one of the best NBA players, she hasn't played this year due to injury. You understand? But the WNBA Allstars should not beat Team USA. Now, again, it was a fun game. You know, they didn't really call out of fouls. A lot of people were shooting. Shouts out to Arike Ogunbowale. If I butchered your name, I apologize dearly. I really do. I'm looking at the enunciation, Jones, so I'm not the smartest crayon in the box. So, shouts out to Arike Ogunbowale for winning the All-Star Game MVP. I think she had like 26 points. Like, she was going crazy. And it was a fun game. The 3-point contest was extremely fun. Shouts out to, I forgot her name, bro. But shouts out to, she won 3 times in a row. She's like the Clay test. She was letting that joke go too. But yeah, man, Team USA should not. Now it's better to lose to the WNBA Allstars than it is to lose in Tokyo. But they shouldn't be losing. Like, this is the best of the best. Like, Tina Charles is averaging the most points ever in a season. Brianna Stewart is arguably one of the greatest greatest basketball players ever. Brittany Griner is incredible. Sue Bird, one of the best guards or basketball players to ever play. Like, you shouldn't lose. You shouldn't. But shouts out to, again, Arike. Shouts out to DeWanna Bonner. Shouts out to Jaquel Jones. Shouts out to Candace Parker for also being the first woman on the cover of 2K. Shouts out to Candace Parker, one of the GOATs. Well deserved. Shouts out to her. And shouts out to all the people that were in that. Shouts out to the WNBA. Again, the WNBA put on a really good. Now, I was a little nervous because I was like, hold on, this is the WNBA. I was a little nervous, but now thinking about it in hindsight, it was genius. WNBA All-Star Game was before Game 4 of the NBA playoffs. So I'm like, I don't know. You're not going to get a lot of viewers because it's before Game 4 of an NBA Finals. And, of course, as we know, more people are going to watch NBA Finals than watch a WNBA All-Star Game. However, it was genius making it on the same day, and they were pretty much both, the NBA and WNBA were pretty much cross-promoting. People were watching the as soon as the WNBA All-Star Game went off, fans just went to the NBA, and the NBA Finals started a little later. Like, they started around 9:15, 9:20 because of the WNBA. And it was genius, man. But shouts out to the WNBA All-Star Game. It was fun. It was good. The women were balling. The women were hooping. Liz Cambage didn't play, even though she was a WNBA All-Star. I think they're saying that she had an injury, or she tweaked her hip or whatever, or had an injury or whatever in practice. So she didn't play, but it was fun watching her interact with the players and, of course, eating the popcorn. Like I said, Jonquel Jones was incredible in the game. She also was incredible for the 3-point contest. She came in second. Arike Ogunbowale, she won the MVP. It was fun. Again, Team USA shouldn't be losing because Team USA are the best WNBA players. So the fact that the best WNBA players are losing to pretty much, while the the All-Stars are still, top of the top, but Team USA is top of the top of the top. So, but it was a fun game, and I did like that format. Now, of course, that format's not going to always happen. Like, this is a special year because you have Team USA. This is the Olympic year, so it makes sense that you're going to have Team USA against the Allstars. But it was fun. It was fun, and it was good to watch. And shouts out to everyone that participated, man. It was fun. It was fun. So, moving forward, another all. I guess this is All-Star season. Another shouts out to the MLB Allstar game. That happened this week as well, and the AL Allstars beat the American League Allstars beat the National League Allstars for the 9th straight time, by the way, 5-2. And I was watching it. Now, I was watching the home run derby first, and of course it's on separate days, but I was just thinking, these players are supremely talented. Like, you have Trey from Baltimore. He was hitting Joan out the park, and he shouts out to him. He's probably gonna win AL Comeback Player of the Year. But they were hitting, Pete Alonso, with the winning his 2nd straight home run derby. I was just watching like, these players are supremely talented. And then you watch the All-Star game, and I was just thinking like, the league is changing. Now, I believe the MLB has to they have to do a better job at marketing their players. That the MLB has to do a better job on a lot of things, but to me, number one is marketing their players. There should be no reason. There should be no reason why you have. For people forget, Mike Trout is still playing. And for people that don't know, Mike Trout is one of the greatest, if not the greatest, baseball player to ever play. And he's still playing today. But I was looking at the All-Star game, and shouts out to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. for winning the MVP. He started off with like a huge homer. I was like, damn. But the MLB, all I could think about watching the MLB All-Star game is, the league really has to they have to get with the times and get better at this promotion thing. Because if you look, moving forward, they have some young stars. And it's like, this is the time, bro. This is the time where you have to get with the times and you have to promote. I mean, they still fight about the whole bat flip thing. They fight with the showboating, even though you just hit a 530-foot bomb. It's like, you don't showboat in this game. Like, nigga, hold on. Chill out. But this is the time. If they do not change, if they do not get better at this right now, it's never going to happen. And I say that because this is the easiest time to do it. Look at this. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who just won the All-Star Game MVP. He's 22 years old. Fernando Tatis Jr., who's arguably one of the most electrifying players in the MLB. He's 22 years old. Shohei Ohtani, who is leaps and bounds better than Babe Ruth. He's 27. Juan Soto, the young, promising player from the Washington Nationals, who also, I keep hitting this mic, who also has a World Series ring and was a pivotal contributor to the World Series, is 22. Pete Alonso, who just won his back-to-back home run derby, is 26. Ronald Acuna Jr. is 23. These aren't even all the young stars that they have. Now, of course, shouts out to, Clayton Kershaw's and the Matt Scherzers and Mookie Betts. those are good players to promote as well. But the game is changing. You know the thing about all the players that I just said, like I said, Vladimir Guerrero, Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, Ohtani, Pete Alonso, like these are big personalities in a sport that doesn't champion personality. So it's either you're going to get with the times or you're going. It's kind of like basketball, bro. Basketball is changing. Look at Imani Bates. Imani Bates. The league is about to look like a lot of Imani Bates or Chet that plays for Team USA. Like the game is changing, and the difference between NBA and MLB is the NBA know how to promote their players better. And if the MLB does not, it's not even just get with the times, bro. This is now. It's exciting. They're doing a better job. Like I said, it's exciting when you see, night after night, you're seeing home run, like a whole bunch of 15, 16 runs, or you're seeing, I don't know how many no-hitters we've seen, or shutouts we've seen. Like, it's getting exciting. Of course, we talked about last episode, the home run derby and the All-Star game was incredible. Don't get me wrong. Like, it was fun to watch the All-Star game. But again, all I could think of is, I hope that the MLB does not miss this opportunity, because they have players that's 22, 27, 26, 22, 23, 24, 25 that are stars. That if you champion them, and I'm not saying that, no, I am saying that. If you wrap your arms around them and champion them and promote them better, then you're gonna get the outcome that you're looking for, which is a younger demographic. Because quiet as kept, older people are the only ones that really, older people are like, or baseball diehards are the only ones that watch the games, really. Now, people go to games, but it's the experience at that point. Going to the ballpark, getting the glizzy, like, it's the experience. But nobody's really going there to really see, oh shoot, I want to see, Seattle Mariners in the Nationals play. Like, it's just going for the experience. Only like true diehard fans and 106.7 The Fan are the only people that really genuinely love to sit through a 1-0 game. And all you have to hear about is tradition all the time. Like, no, bro, champion your players. And this is the time. You have the personalities. You have Fernando Tatis. You have Ohtani, who is not even a American. Like you have the personalities. You have Juan Soto. You have Pete Alonso. And the All-Star MVP was Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And I think he became the third player to ever. Third father-son, Vladimir Guerrero and Vladimir Guerrero Jr., both of them won the All-Star MVP. That became, I think, the third father-son duo to do that. So it's just champion your players, man. And this is the best. This is the perfect time. You have the players. Hell, Fernando Tatis is one of the best players today, and he's probably going to break records that we haven't seen since the 30s. Sohei Ohtani is better than Babe Ruth. And we know how much people glorify Babe Ruth. And rightfully so. But it's like, it's time, man. It's time to champion these players. It's time. It's time, MLB, to start promoting your players a lot more. Because I don't think you're ever going to get a Mike Trout again. But it's a damn shame, and it's criminal how much people do not know about Mike Trout, and he's playing today. And it's criminal how bad that the MLB promotes Mike Trout and promotes their players. Again, Mike Trout is one of the greatest MLB players to ever play. Yet and still, he can be walking down the street and nobody would know who he is. I'm not gonna say nobody, but most people would know who he is, and that's criminal. It could do better, MLB, but they did put on a pretty good like I said last episode, they did put on a pretty good All-Star, I guess, event. From the home run derby, the celebrity game, and the All-Star game was pretty good. So hopefully they're in the right direction. Moving forward. And lastly, shouts out to ESPN. ESPN's getting killed been getting killed for a minute, but shouts out to ESPN. I watched I wanted to end my show today. I watched, I think it was Breakaway, the documentary about Maya Moore, giving up her playing career to really focus on the criminal justice and trying to get the freedom of Jonathan Irons, who is now her husband, trying to get him out. Shouts out to Maya Moore, bro. A lot of people don't remember how seismic it was when the report came out that Maya Moore, I think it was in 2018, when they came out and said that she's stepping away from basketball. Like, that was seismic. And a lot of people want to put greatest women's or greatest, men's, because they don't want to broaden the scope. But I'm going to broaden the scope. Maya Moore is one of the greatest basketball players to ever put on a pair of shoes. She's one of the most accomplished basketball players to ever put on a pair of shoes. And the fact that she gave that all the way for criminal justice reform, pretty much, is nothing but honorable, bro. And I was just watching, that documentary, the 30 for 30. And all I could think is, damn, we're never going to get a Maya Moore. But I didn't feel robbed. I didn't feel cheated. I felt like, Maya Moore she came into this game. Now, she could still play. I mean, I know that they, she's still trying to do the reform thing, which is commendable. She can still play, but I was also watching like, yo, she ain't never playing again. She ain't never playing. Now she could. I could be wrong, but I just felt like, yo, she ain't never playing a NBA ever. I mean, WNBA ever again, because she's focused on this criminal, and she's knees deep in this joint, and respectfully and rightfully so. But I was just watching like, yo, Maya Moore did something, or is doing something, that a lot of people talk about but don't really champion, And that's, a lot of people say, put your money where your mouth is. Like, people, all them times where like athletes or rappers or people with a lot of money be sending out GoFundMe for people that has like sick or need money, and everyone was like, yo, why don't you give the money? I mean, you got it. And I was like, oh, like, Maya Moore gave up her career for something bigger than basketball. And I commend her. And I also commend her because I don't know if I'd do that. Hell, I'm almost sure I wouldn't do that. And I'm not judging her. Like, I'm not saying she did the wrong thing. I'm just saying I wouldn't I wouldn't do that. And she's better than me in that area. Like, but I did want to give a shout out to Maya Moore for just being a good person, bro. Being a good person and putting a situation above her current situation. No, above her current life at the time. Because her life was basketball. She said in the documentary, Joan, like, she's been playing basketball pretty much her whole life. That was her escape. Like, she was and she was down like hell. She has two. I think she has two or three undefeated seasons in high school. She won two, I think UConn championships, and I think she's a 4-time WNBA champion or something like that. Multiple MVPs, like she is, and Team USA. I think she has like 2 or 3 gold medals. Like she is greatness, and she gave that all away. Or she put that aside for criminal justice to get my man Jonathan Irons out. Shouts out to her, man. Shouts out to Maya Moore for being a good person. Shouts out to Maya Moore for doing what she wanted to do. It kind of goes back to Liz Cambage, man. Do what you want to do. Hell, that's what Kyrie's doing right now. Everyone's killing Kyrie for, just being not going against the norm or not going with the norm. She did it. Maya Moore did it to the extreme. Like, people's like, yo, you giving up your career for this? You can't do this while playing? Like, I remember said that. I said, well, she can't tackle the criminal justice jump while playing? Okay. But shouts out to Maya Moore for doing what she wanted to do and not really listening to what everyone had to say. So shouts out to her. Shouts out to Jonathan Irons for getting out, bro. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to both of them for getting married. Just shouts out to Maya Moore. She's an example. And she's somebody that I believe a lot of people should know and a lot of people should champion. When we talk about, and honestly, she's one of those players, she's one of those people that will go down as one of the greatest basketball players ever, but I think that should also be heightened. That statement should be heightened because of what she did off the court and the fact that she gave up her basketball career. A basketball career, by the way, that was top of the top. Like, she was entering Jordan realms. And that's crazy to say. But I'm almost sure if she continued to, it's like if she was still in her prime, if she continued to go, like, without stopping, you would look at her and think that she was arguably, if not the greatest women's basketball player ever. And when we talk about basketball players in general, you have to, all the stuff she's accomplished and how good she was, you have to put her in top 10 ever, men and women. And the fact that she gave that up, like, is crazy at the pinnacle too. So when we talk about Maya Moore's one of the greatest players ever, to me, that statement gets heightened because of the fact that she gave all that up and could have been better. Or let me not say better. She could have continued her dominance, but she didn't because she saw something that was bigger than her career, bigger than herself. And, now she's trying to get other people out. So shouts out to her. Shouts out to my, Jonathan Irons. And shouts out to, all the people that see the bigger picture, because all this is just sports, man. But the people that you have, see they have a platform and use it for good, or use it for something bigger than them for good. So, but there you have it. That has been today's episode of the Unpopular Podcast. I appreciate you guys. There will be no episode on Wednesday. My birthday is next week, so I'm going out of town. I appreciate you guys. There will be no episode on Wednesday. There will be one on Saturday next week. I'm going to take, like I said, a week off because of my birthday. I'm going out of town. I appreciate you guys. Please subscribe. Please subscribe to the Unpopular Podcast YouTube page. It's the one that has there's 2 Unpopular Podcast pages. Both of them or both of us, I guess you can say, are clearly podcasts. Mine is the joint that either deals with sports and it has the headphones, and I'm like, this is no shade to them. Shouts out to the other Unpopular Podcast channel on YouTube, but mine's the joint with the headphones, black and orange or black and red, whatever you see. If you want an Unpopular Podcast shirt, hoodie, sweater, joggers, long sleeve, link is in the description below. Multiple different colors, multiple different designs. I actually really like my designs, or our designs and the colors. I think it hits, man. Go get your merch today. But I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. See you guys next Saturday. And until then, much love.